Hi there, Marriott Martinez here, and I want to make a quick video to clear up two transactions that are very tricky for many business owners. One of those being transfers from one bank account to another, and the other one being payments of a credit card. So let's do each one separately. Let's start with a transfer from one bank account to another. And what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and double check what bank accounts and credit card accounts this QuickBooks file has. To do that, I'm going to click on my balance sheet and I'm going to see here as of today. So I'm going to click on today. As of today, this particular business has a checking account, operations, a savings account, and also has a Visa credit card. So that's all the accounts that this business has as of today. So I know those will be my options when I am transferring money back and forth to the bank accounts and when I'm making a payment to the credit card. So now let's go over to bank transactions. And I can see I have 3 transactions waiting in my operations bank account and 3 transactions waiting in my Visa account. Let's again start with the operations account. But what I do like to do, especially when I'm dealing with this tricky transaction of paying a credit card from my operations account, I like to actually duplicate the tab and confirm I am referring to the exact amount. So for example, here on January 27, 2025, my operations account made a payment to my Chase Visa for $500. If that is true, then if I open up my Chase Visa on my other tab, and I can tell I'm open in my Chase Visa because it's blue, in my Chase Visa, I should also see $500 coming on January 27th for the same amount. But when it comes into the Chase Visa, QuickBooks is giving me this categorization that's completely incorrect. What I want to tell QuickBooks that this is, I want to tell QuickBooks that it's actually a payment coming from my operations account, which again, here in my operations account, I know I'm in my operations because it's blue. I clearly see on January 27th, my operations account made a payment of $500. See how it's in the spent column? There is a payment sent to my credit card. So now that I have verified that this $500 coming out of my operations is the same $500 that's getting paid to my credit card, I can ignore what QuickBooks Online is doing here in the categorizations, and I can complete this transaction correctly. So how do I do that? I'm going to go into my operations account, and I am not going to use the transfer option or even the pay down credit card. I do not like either of these options because I prefer to go right into the bank feed and tell the bank feed I know exactly what this transaction is. It's basically a payment to my credit card. So I drop down my chart of accounts. This is my chart of accounts. And I pull up my credit card. And again, I know I have this credit card because I validated that when I found it on my balance sheet. So there's my credit card. And I know I'm paying it out of my bank account because I'm in my bank account under bank transactions, and the card is a dark blue, so I know I'm in the right place, and I clearly can go ahead and add this transaction. And I know I just cleared that amount out because my transactions went from 3 to 2. But what happened over here in my credit card account? So when I come over to my credit card account, I still have 3 transactions, but one of them is wanting to be matched to the transaction I just did. So I can say, yes, I agree. I just did a transaction from my bank account to pay $500 and I want to match it to that transaction. I don't want to add it because then I would be adding an additional transaction. I just want to match it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on match. So what does that do? It goes ahead and matches the transaction I did on the operations account to the credit card, and it leaves another $500. Now, in a moment when I do that transaction, I'll be able to match that as well. But I'm not going to do that transaction in the Visa card. I'm going to go back to the Chase account. Also, when I'm flipping back and forth, I like to refresh the tabs to make sure it's picking up the right information. So I clearly see that I have 2 transactions left in my operations and 2 in my Visa. So let me go ahead and clear up this second $500. I'm going to click on $500. Again, I know it's to my Chase Visa, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Add. But let me go ahead and click back in my Visa. And again, I will refresh just to make sure I'm looking at the latest information. And there it is. There's that same transaction that's waiting for me, but instead of adding it, I'm just going to match it. I'm matching it because I already completed the transaction in this operations area, and now I'm just matching it to the transactions in the Visa card area. And that clears up the 2 transactions both on the Visa side and on the operations side. Again, I always prefer to do it through the bank feeds versus doing it using a transfer or a pay down credit card option. Now, what about this transfer from the savings? Again, I use the bank feeds to do a transfer from the savings, and this one is just as easy. I click on the drop down, I look for my savings account, I find the savings account, and basically what this transaction is saying is that in my operations account coming in, I have $1,000 being received from this savings account. I agree with that. I click on Add, and now I've cleared that transaction out. So now if I click on Refresh one last time, I only have one more transaction to complete, and that is on my Visa card for the actual credit card expense. So I'm going to click on this transaction. I'm going to put this to a computer account for now. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Add. And that's how I go ahead and not only complete my bank transactions inside of QuickBooks Online, but also deal with those trickier transactions like payments to credit cards and transfers from one bank account to another. And that's how you do it in QuickBooks Online.